Welcome back to my channel. Today we will learn about one of the most dramatic and emotionally charged storylines currently unfolding in the beloved soap opera The Bold and the Beautiful. This storyline centers around a shocking revelation that will shake the foundations of several characters' lives and introduce new dimensions to relationships that viewers thought they fully understood. The narrative we're about to explore involves unexpected family connections, long-buried secrets, and the possibility of a paternity twist that could change everything we know about certain key characters in the show. The unexpected arrival of Dylan's mother. The story begins with a pivotal moment when Dylan's mother unexpectedly arrives in town. This is not a casual visit or a planned vacation. This arrival carries significant weight and implications. Dylan, a character who has had her own journey throughout the series, receives a surprise visit from her mother, Diane. This reunion would normally be portrayed as a touching moment between a mother and daughter, but the world of soap operas, nothing ever quite that simple, is straightforward. The arrival of Diane sets off a chain reaction of events that will eventually unravel secrets that have been hidden for years, potentially rewriting the family history of multiple characters in the process. Diane's unexpected appearance in town is the catalyst that begins to unravel a complex web of past relationships and hidden connections. Her arrival is not something that was planned or anticipated by the main characters, which adds to the dramatic tension of the moment. When a character suddenly appears in soap opera without warning, viewers know that significant revelations are likely to follow. The writing team at The Bold and the Beautiful has expertly crafted this moment to create maximum impact, leaving audiences wondering what secrets Diane might be carrying with her and what her presence in town will mean for the other characters. The fateful encounter at Will's house. The crucial turning point of this storyline occurs when Bill Spencer, one of the show's most prominent and complex characters, happens to visit Will's house at the exact moment when Dylan and her mother Diane are present. This is not a planned meeting. It is a fortunate coincidence that will have enormous consequences. Bill, accustomed to his position as a powerful and influential figure in the business world, is completely unprepared for what he is about to discover. The casual nature of this encounter masks the profound impact it will have on everyone involved. When Bill arrives at Will's house, he expects a routine visit. What he does not to expect is to come face to face with Diane, a woman from his past who clearly meant something significant to him. The moment of recognition is electric and charged with emotion. Bill's reaction is visceral and immediate. He is horrified to see Diane. This is not a simple case of running into an old acquaintance. Bill's response suggests that his history with Diane is fraught with complicated emotions, perhaps involving regret, longing, or unresolved feelings. The look of shock and disbelief on his face conveys volumes about the nature of their past relationship. The shock of recognition, Bill encounters his former love. As Bill processes the sight of Diane standing before him, the weight of their shared history crashes down upon him. The realization that Diane is actually in the same room with him in the present day triggers an emotional response that he cannot fully hide or control. Bill Spencer is typically a man of composure and control, especially in business situations. But personal matters have always had the power to shake his carefully maintained exterior. The presence of Diane combined with the presence of Dylan sets his mind racing with possibilities and implications that he is only beginning to understand. The horror that Bill experiences upon seeing Diane is not born from hatred or anger. Instead, it appears to stem from the sudden reappearance of someone who was significant in his life. Someone whose connection to him may have far deeper implications than a simple romantic past. The way Bill reacts suggests that he has not seen Diane in many years, and he certainly did not expect to encounter her under these circumstances. This moment represents a collision between Bill's past and his present, between secrets that may have been carefully buried and the possibility that those secrets are now resurfacing. The paternity question emerges. The most significant aspect of this encounter becomes apparent when Bill begins to process the timeline and the details of the past. A situation. Looking at Dylan, really looking at her for perhaps the first time with this new context, Bill begins to experience a terrible suspicion. The thought that crystallizes in his mind is almost unbearable. Could Dylan be his biological daughter? This question, once it takes root in Bill's consciousness, becomes impossible to ignore or dismiss. Bill's suspicion is not based on wild speculation or paranoia. Instead, it is grounded in observable facts and the mathematics of time. When Bill considers Dylan's age and compares it to the timeline of his relationship with Diane, the pieces begin to fit together in a way that is both terrifying and impossible to deny. If Diane had a child during the period when she and Bill were together, and if the timing aligns with Dylan's age, then there is a very real possibility that Dylan could be his biological daughter. The fact that this possibility was never previously disclosed to him, that he may have been unaware of his own child's existence, adds layers of betrayal and complexity to the situation. This is the crux of the drama. Bill is forced to confront the possibility that a child he never knew about may actually be his. This kind of revelation strikes at the heart of a person's identity and their understanding of their own family structure. For Bill, who has built his life and his empire with careful planning and control, the sudden emergence of a potential daughter he never knew existed represents a fundamental disruption to everything he thought he understood about his past. The implications for Bill's life and character. For Bill Spencer, this discovery has far-reaching implications that extend beyond the simple acknowledgement of a possible biological relationship. Bill is a man who has been through countless traumatic situations throughout his tenure on The Bold and the Beautiful. He has navigated business challenges, romantic entanglements, and family crises with varying degrees of success. However, the possibility of an unknown daughter represents a different kind of challenge entirely, one that touches on fundamental questions of, quote, identity, responsibility, and family legacy. If Dylan is indeed Bill's daughter, then several important questions arise. First, there is the matter of how this happened. Did Diane intentionally keep Dylan's paternity a secret? Was it a misunderstanding or miscommunication? Or did circumstances conspire to keep Bill and Diane separated at a crucial time in their lives? The answers to these questions will significantly impact how Bill processes and responds to this revelation. His reaction will depend largely on understanding the circumstances that led to this situation. Additionally, there is the matter of Dylan's own identity and her right to know her true parentage. If Bill is her biological father, then Dylan has a right to know this information. This is not merely about establishing a biological relationship, it is about Dylan's understanding of her own heritage and family history. The revelation could potentially reshape Dylan's entire understanding of her identity and her place in the world. The emotional weight of the discovery. The emotional dimensions of this storyline cannot be overstated. For Bill, confronting the possibility of fathering a child he never knew about is emotionally devastating in multiple ways. First, there's the shock of the discovery itself. Learning that you may have a child in the world is a life-altering realization regardless of the circumstances. The sudden expansion of one's family structure, the acknowledgement of a responsibility he never knew he carried, and the implications for his entire life narrative. These are all overwhelming emotions that Bill must process simultaneously. Furthermore, there is the matter of Diane's role in all of this. Why did Diane come to town at this particular moment? Was her arrival specifically designed to reveal this secret to Bill, or did she come for some other reason? And the encounter with Bill at Will's house was genuinely unexpected from her perspective. The answers to these questions will reveal much about Diane's character and her intentions. If Diane deliberately engineered this meeting, or if she had always intended to tell Bill about Dylan, then her motivations become crucial to understanding the storyline's trajectory. The impact on multiple characters. This revelation does not exist in a vacuum. It will have ripple effects throughout the cast of The Bold and the Beautiful. Will, in whose house this encounter takes place, will inevitably be drawn into the drama. Will's own relationship with his family and his position within the dynamics of the show will be affected by his knowledge of what transpired in his house. Other characters who are close to Bill, Dylan, or Diane will also be impacted as the truth begins to spread through the close-knit community of the show. The broader implications for the show's ensemble cast are substantial. Other characters will have to decide whether they support Bill in this situation, whether they sympathize with Diane's choices, or whether they prioritize Dylan's emotional well-being above all else. The moral complexities of the situation mean that different characters will view these events through different lenses, creating fertile ground for ongoing dramatic tension and conflict. The mystery of the past relationship. The nature of Bill and Diane's past relationship is a crucial element that drives this entire storyline. What was the extent of their connection? Were they in love? Were they married? Did they share something profound that was cut short by circumstances beyond their control? The answers to these questions will inform how viewers understand both Bill's reaction to seeing Diane and the justification, if any, for why Diane may have kept Dylan's paternity a secret. In soap operas, past relationships are often defined by intensity and complication. It is entirely possible that Bill and Diane's relationship was passionate but ultimately unsustainable for reasons that made continuing together impossible. Perhaps one of them was involved with someone else. Perhaps there were family objections or business conflicts that threatened to derail their relationship. Perhaps they were separated by circumstance, one of them leaving town, a misunderstanding that couldn't be resolved, or a fundamental disagreement about the direction of their lives. Whatever the nature of their past relationship, it is clear that it was significant enough to have resulted in Dylan's conception. And it was significant enough that seeing Diane again brings Bill's emotions rushing back to the surface. The complicated history between Bill and Diane provides the emotional foundation for everything that follows in this storyline. The road ahead. As this storyline unfolds, viewers can expect escalating drama and emotional intensity. The initial shock of the discovery will give way to questions that demand answers. Bill will need to confront Diane and demand to know the truth about Dylan's paternity. He will need to understand why this secret was kept from him and what circumstances led to this situation. Dylan, once she becomes aware of the possibility that Bill might be her biological father, he will face her own emotional journey as she processes this information and decides how she wants to proceed. The narrative threads of this storyline are rich with dramatic potential. There are questions about honesty and deception, about the right to know one's own family history, about responsibility and consequences for past actions. There are also deeper questions about love and sacrifice, about whether keeping a secret can sometimes be justified by good intentions, and about the complexity of human relationships.